Complete story of Eros, Earth 616. Eros is the youngest son of two Eternals Lars and Sui-san. Originally named Aaron, he was rechristened Eros at the age of 5. Given his interest in the opposite sex, Eros grew up to be a fun-loving, carefree womanizer in contrast to his brother Thanos, a power-hungry, misanthropic schemer. Only when Thanos launched his first major attack against Titan, an attack that left their mother Sui-san dead, did Eros begin to take life a bit more seriously. In subsequent campaigns against Thanos, Eros fought alongside Titan's handful of survivors. Eros joined the Kree Captain Marvel and the Avengers in the first major defeat of Thanos. No longer bound by duty, Eros left war-torn Titan, seeking out pleasure and recreation on humanoid-inhabited worlds. He had many lovers, but his only steady relationship was with the prostitute Heater Delight. Eros later helped Heater escape more than one possessive master, including Dark Roger and Axel the Rescorlan. While she was the property of Proboscis the Procurer, Heater kept Eros from saving her because she didn't want his face damaged. She instead manipulated Pip the Troll into saving her. When the cancer-stricken Captain Marvel retreated to Titan to spend his final days of life, Eros was summoned by his father Lars and returned to Titan to help console his friend. Just before he died, Marvel made Eros promise to take care of his Titanian companion, Elysius, after he was gone. Eros honored his vow for several weeks, until Elysius, realizing his wanderlust, released him from his promise. Eros then consulted Isaac, Titan's master computer, for data on the most suitable planets to his needs and temperament. The computer recommended Earth. Traveling there, Eros visited the only people he knew, the Avengers, and petitioned them to make him a member. The Avengers admitted him to their training program and gave him the name Star Fox, since they felt Eros was an inappropriate code name. Star Fox served the Avengers faithfully for several months, helping them vanquish such menaces as the Wizard, Terminus, and Maelstrom. Finally, while in the Skrull Empire rescuing fellow Avenger Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, Star Fox learned that her abductor, the space pirate Nebula, was allegedly Thanos' granddaughter and thus his grandniece. Star Fox resigned his active membership in the Avengers to pursue Nebula, who had eluded them with the help of the near-omnipotent Beyonder. He was soon joined by Fire Lord, the former herald of Galactus whose native world Xandar had been destroyed by Nebula, and the two spent many months searching the universe for her. Eros was later summoned to the side of Thanos, who had at the time assembled the Infinity Gems to form the Infinity Gauntlet. Thanos also summoned Nebula in order to scoff at such a family reunion. Thanos was soon defeated by an assemblage of the universe's heroes and Adam Warlock, the original owner of the Soul Gem, who ultimately took the Infinity Gauntlet for himself. Eros elected to take Nebula into custody on Titan. Eros returned to a hedonistic life of adventure, preferring to wander space in search of romance and adventure. He often returned to Earth in order to aid the Avengers, serving during the Terminus Crisis, Operation Galactic Storm, and the Nemesis affair involving the Infinity Gems and the so-called Ultraverse. More recently, he aided Photon and other Avengers against the Controller. Later, Eros was among the Avengers who were captured by Morgan Le Fay and magically transformed into her personal guard, the Queen's Vengeance. While serving in this altered reality, he used the name Knave of Hearts. Afterwards, Eros paired with Tigra and spent time on Deneb 7, a pleasure planet. After a while on Deneb 7, Tigra became bored, so the two left seeking adventure. Tigra and Star Fox were among the reserve Avengers who responded to Quasar's call for assistance in investigating the destruction of a Rigel Lien outpost world. He traveled with Tigra to the outpost world where he met up with Thor, Photon, and Moondragon, where they found the wounded Jack of Hearts, the only survivor. Together they fought a Servitor of the Infinities. Eventually, Eros returned to Titan for a time and remained there until Thanos' gambit to destroy the coming Celestial Messiah. Eros led a force consisting of some of the most powerful Titanian Eternals into battle against Thanos' forces and engaged his brother in personal combat. Eros, however, proved to be no match for his brother and was blasted unconscious and then taken prisoner. At the conclusion of the incident, Eros was freed by the Avengers, and returned to Titan with the surviving members of his Titanian strike force. Star Fox later confronted the time traveler Thanatos, a version of Rick Jones from another reality intent on gathering items of power. Thanatos struck Star Fox in the neck with the Spear of Destiny, causing a wound which could not be healed, then threatened to kill him unless he brought Rick Jones, now bonded to Genisvel, to him. Star Fox was forced to comply, but Rick and Genis were able to defeat Thanatos in the end, reversing his actions. After Genis' power of cosmic awareness drove him insane, Star Fox joined with Elysius, Mentor, and the other Titans in opposing him. They were ultimately able to help Genis regain his sanity. Star Fox was put on trial for sexual assault, accused of using his powers to seduce a happily married woman. He was defended by lawyer Jennifer Walters, the She-Hulk. The law firm which employed her, Goodman, Lieber, Kurtzberg and Holloway, was contracted by Mentor to defend his son from the allegations. In the course of the trial, Ms. Walters came to suspect that Star Fox had used his powers on her during their time in the Avengers, resulting in a brief sexual interaction. By this time, Star Fox had been banned from the courtroom after it was determined that he was using his special abilities to influence the witnesses. When Jennifer Walters confronted Star Fox with her suspicions via closed-circuit video link, he evaded her questions and then cut the video feed. Walters angrily charged out of the courtroom, transformed into She-Hulk, and caught Star Fox as he was attempting to escape from Earth. She dealt Star Fox a savage beating, giving him no chance to defend his actions, knocked him unconscious, and duct-taped his mouth shut to ensure that he could not use his abilities to elude punishment. However, Mentor effected his son's release by teleporting Star Fox away to Titan. Mentor eventually staged a native Titanian trial in the hopes of clearing his son's name. The Living Tribunal, interested in the equity of the process, called on She-Hulk as prosecuting attorney. Jennifer Walters, in an attempt to get to the bottom of the matter, agreed to a mind probe of both Star Fox and herself. She discovered that Star Fox did not use his abilities to influence her decision to have sex with him, but that he was deliberately responsible for her sudden infatuation with and marriage to John Jameson. An enraged She-Hulk once more lashed out at Star Fox for toying with her life, bringing the legal proceedings to a halt. Thanos soon appeared at the trial, and testified that his brother Star Fox inspired his obsession with death when they were children, when attempting to make young Thanos accept the death of an animal he had involuntarily killed with his enormous strength. By Titanian law, Eros would thus take full responsibility for all the genocides Thanos had later committed. It was later revealed that this was a false memory that Thanos implanted into Star Fox's mind, and shared by a Thanos clone which the real Thanos sent. Thanos' implantation of the memory is what caused Star Fox to briefly become mentally unbalanced, and use his power in this manner for the first time. Star Fox agreed to have Moondragon shut them off completely rather than risk hurting more people. Star Fox was later seen living on Titan again, with his abilities restored. He was shown flirting with a number of women, but stated that he will not use his powers to woo them. Ultron soon attacked Titan and assimilated the entire population, including Mentor, via a robotic virus, transforming the moon into planet Ultron. Star Fox fled to Earth and met with the current team of Avengers, now led by the new Captain America, and teamed up with them to liberate his world. He played a key role in the Avengers' victory, using his powers on the half-organic Ultron to force the villain to have an emotional breakdown. Powers. Eternal physiology. Star Fox possesses various superhuman attributes derived from his eternal physiology. All Eternals have the ability to manipulate cosmic energies for a number of purposes. This energy is housed within the cells of their bodies and can be used to purposely augment their physical, mental, and energy manipulative abilities. While all Eternals have at least some degree of these abilities, it takes centuries of intensive and disciplined training to manipulate these energies to their maximum potential. Titanian Eternals have the potential to manipulate cosmic energies in various ways, but Star Fox himself has never undertaken the discipline of learning how. Superhuman strength. All Eternals have the capacity for superhuman physical strength. Star Fox's physical strength is roughly average for an Eternal and can lift about 15 tons. Superhuman speed. Like all Eternals, Star Fox is able to run and move at speeds that are beyond the natural physical limits of the finest human athlete. As with his strength, his speed is roughly average for an adult member of his race. Superhuman stamina. Star Fox's augmented musculature is considerably more efficient than that of a human being, or most other members of his race for that matter. His muscles produce considerably less fatigue toxins during physical activity than those of humans and most Eternals. At his peak, he can exert himself physically for about 24 hours before the buildup of fatigue toxins in his blood begins to impair him. Superhuman durability. Star Fox's body is tougher and more resistant to certain forms of injury than that of an ordinary human. His bodily tissues are sufficiently enforced to withstand impact and blunt trauma forces. He can withstand impacts, such as falling from several stories or being repeatedly struck with superhuman force, that would severely injure or kill an ordinary human being with little to no injury to himself. However, he is far from invulnerable and can be injured by weapons, such as bullets or knives, composed of conventional materials. His overall resistance to injury is on par with that of the average Eternal. Phoenix. Like all Eternals, Star Fox possesses at least some degree of psionic capability as a result of the cosmic energy housed within the cells of his body. Using the cosmic energy to bolster these natural psionic capabilities to their full potential also requires centuries of intensive training. Immortality. Star Fox, like all Eternals, is essentially immortal. The cosmic energy housed in his body has been developed for the purpose of halting his natural aging process. Although well over 1,000 years old, he is still physically young by Eternal standards. Star Fox is also immune to the effects of all known earthly diseases and infections. Accelerated healing factor. If Star Fox is injured, his physiology enables him to recover much faster and more extensively than a human being is capable of. Injuries such as lacerations or bullet wounds can fully mend within a matter of hours. This ability can be augmented dramatically if Star Fox properly trains himself. At its peak, Star Fox's healing ability could be sufficient to allow him to regenerate virtually any damaged or destroyed bodily tissues because he would have constant genetic control over every molecule of his body, even while sleeping. Flight. Star Fox can psionically levitate by manipulating gravitons around him and propel himself through the air at great speeds. At his peak, he can achieve speeds of about 800 miles per hour, which is among the fastest rate for his kind. Pleasure stimulation. Star Fox possesses the Sonic ability to stimulate the pleasure centers of the brains of people within 25 feet of himself. This power, which emanates from him at all times, causes other beings to feel good around him. By concentrating, he can magnify these emanations, provoking such extreme pleasurable sensations that a person becomes highly aroused, euphoric, or totally sedated, as the case may be. When using it at full magnitude, he was able to render a captured Hydra agent to be completely enamored with him for months if not years despite having a wife. Abilities. Star Fox possesses some knowledge of basic hand-to-hand combat, and some degree of mastery over 500 different alien languages. Weaknesses. Star Fox prefers to pursue idle pleasures rather than devote his time to augmenting his powers to their full extent. His Sonic and energy manipulative capabilities are currently a mere fraction of what they could possibly be after centuries of devoting himself to the necessary training. This, coupled with his general lack of hand-to-hand combat skills and experience, has often left him at the mercy of more skilled or more powerful enemies without being able to offer much resistance. He can also draw ire from those who are aware he is using his powers on them, and anger from those who discover he did so to them previously. He received a vicious kick to the groin from She-Hulk when she discovered that he had used his powers to seduce her.